Still can't type in. Still can't type into into the box. I don't know why.
Oh, I don't know. They'd put their Surface Pro onto the fast read.
I think there was I thought it was a known issue and they'd fixed it. The other one. Yeah, there's a nice few bugs in this current build which we can talk about.
Oh yeah.
So what you need is some nice safe threshold 2 updates.
Yes, we've got some of them.
What I'd love to do is enter some feedback about this build, but unfortunately the feedback app crashes.
Oh dear. Will Jason make it to the end of the podcast?
I don't know.
Right, well, sounding nice and clear. Jason and Gary, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening. You are live on the Digital Lifestyle Show. Please do not swear.
You feel free to swear, and I can fix it in the edit. And of course, beep 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 beep. Do you remember we did that once to Andrew, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
And Andrew Edney was on the show, and I found the right tone and everything, so I put it in the edit, so it sounded like he was swearing.
Actually, we probably should have got him on the show tonight, since it's end of life for Home Server tonight.
Of course it is. Yes, I saw that. I think I retweeted it actually. I saw it today. Yeah. So end of life. It's the V2 Home Server, isn't it?
So that's basically that is it for Home Server.
And it's in good company because it's the end of SQL 2005 as well today.
Yes.
Which I do use more than Home Server.
Yes. Running on Windows XP.
Yeah.
No, I'm not running on XP. My monitor's laptop there. That's better. It wasn't straight.
Oh, you can't have that.
No. So we've got So we're up to date news. We're talking Windows Home Server, Vista, SQL 2005.
Yep.
Yeah.
Topical as ever.
Brought to you by a nice furry Surface Pro type cover.
Yes. So we've got. Well, first of all, Gary, you're back.
I'm back.
You're a week away. So I did want to ask you about some of the announcements that we've had about build, in case we missed anything on there. Mainly around the is it Centennial, Project Centennial, to convert the Win32 apps?
Yep. Yeah. So to basically package Win32 apps.
Yeah.
As Windows Store apps or Universal Windows Platform apps.
Yeah.
Now it's an interesting one because basically it is just a packaging. It's not really doing any conversion. So it's effectively putting them in a, I suppose you'd call it a VM effectively. And it's a question. At the moment, I've not seen any announcements whether that's going to move to be able to run on mobile going forward. Because you think it would work quite nicely on Continuum, but at the moment, I think you've got to have x86 support to actually run them.
And of course, an Intel-powered Surface phone would do.
Well,
yes, quite nicely.
yeah, and we do know the chips are coming out next year, so it's always possible.
So just before we go on to the news, then, so what did you think of Build first? What was your impressions of Build?
But I think I tend to agree with most people. The Build keynote day 1 was a bit disappointing because there wasn't a lot of new stuff. There were some interesting bits and pieces. The inking obviously blew a lot of people away, although I've seen that all before on tablet PCs years and years and years ago, other than the ruler, which was quite cool. But day 2 was much more interesting, I thought, particularly from a developer point of view. That there were. And I know there was some expectation that with Microsoft acquiring Xamarin that they might include it in the MSDN release. But what was surprising was how far they went with making it free. So Xamarin's a cross-platform development tool which a lot of people use. Allows you to take your C# .NET applications, which is what most Windows applications are written in, and convert them so they run on iOS and Android. And it's been very, very expensive up to now, sort of thousands of pounds per user per platform. And Microsoft announced at Build on day 2 that they were making it free to anybody who's got Visual Studio, and that includes the Community Edition, which is the big surprise. So
Yeah.
basically, anybody who wants to program cross-platform now using Visual Studio can.
Yeah, I thought that makes really. I think the point was made that Windows is now a great platform for developers, no matter what you're targeting.
Yeah, exactly. And I've always said about the mobile first being mobility of experience, well, which I know Microsoft says as well now. But they're not talking about, when they talk about mobile first, targeting Windows Mobile. They're targeting the ability to put your app anywhere. And that, coupled with the Xbox One announcements, which you talked about, really does mean you can target anywhere. It's a bit interesting for Windows Mobile in that it does now mean that Windows developers can very easily target Android and iOS. So we're actually slightly easier targeting them than they can actually universal Windows, because at the moment, Xamarin's, because I mean, we, for example, most of my development work in my company has been done in Xamarin Forms, which has got a lot better over the last year or so, and is now actually quite capable of doing some pretty convoluted development. But that works beautifully on Android and iOS, but works at the moment very poorly on UWP. Scaling and everything is not quite there, so I'm hoping they'll put some effort into getting those things sorted out.
Yeah, go ahead.
But I was going to say, I'm going to be over end of this month in Florida for Xamarin Evolve, so I shall feedback from that. All the news we get out of that is, because I'm guessing there's going to be a lot of more detail held over for that event.
Yeah, it does look impressive, and the fact that they're giving it away as well just really make it appealing for developers starting out. Choosing a platform, then you can really, Windows is a really good platform now. Yeah,
well, Visual Studio becomes a very development environment of choice. So I think there's a lot of cool things going on there. There's a lot of announcements, sort of little announcements made around IoT, a lot of the resource changes, which are really nice, especially on costs and things, which made a lot of things a lot more feasible to do in that sphere. I'm currently playing a lot of that with the satellite project I mentioned to you a couple of weeks back. So there's a lot of other little announcements on that second day, which are really cool. So it's good stuff, and some very good development examples out there as well now. So sort of end-to-end stuff, which are interestingly enough written by the Xamarin team.
Oh, well, if you go over there, and you'll have to see if you get to meet James Montemagno.
Oh yes, I'll bump into the hipster again. I have followed James on stage once, so that was fun.
Yeah, I'd love to be a fly on the wall because I know I was chatting to Josh Pollard about James, and I said, and he mentioned that he'd had lunch with him probably a little bit of time just before Build, I think. So
yeah,
I wonder what they discussed over lunch.
That'd be cool.
So, quite a bit to talk about this week. We've got a new build of Windows 10 for Windows Insiders, which I've put on my Surface, which I'm waiting for Jason to do now to catch me up.
No, not this time.
Yeah. Which has a lot of new features, which we'll talk about, and a few bugs as well.
A lot of bugs, let's be honest.
Yeah. And you mentioned, Jason, we've got a new Surface cover as well. So, so what's this? Just tell us about this. It was quite a surprise, really, this one.
Yeah, it was. We've also, which we should also talk about, updates to Threshold 2 as well. So,
yes, we have. Yeah.
For those not quite as brave as you, Ian.
Yeah, Threshold 2 is old news to me.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's a bit out of the blue, really. I don't think any of this leaked, did it?
No.
But so Microsoft released a new touch cover, which primarily Surface Pro 4, but also compatible with Surface Pro 3. I think with a very Apple-like video describing its creation and its tactile feel. But I think the major disappointment for me, and you pointed this out in your post, Ian, was the fact that there's no fingerprint scanner, which for me would have almost made it a simple buy, but yet it costs the same as the keyboard with the fingerprint scanner.
Yeah, I thought that. Yeah, so this new keyboard, £134.99, two-toe grey melange alcantic fabric. I don't know.
Very spoken with a true Manchester accent.
Two-tone. it's got soft fabric on it, hasn't it? But like you said, the single thing that's missing is the fingerprint reader, and that's the only reason why I buy a new keyboard is for a fingerprint reader to use Windows Hello, and it's absent on this, and I really don't know why they didn't do that.
Yeah, it's an interesting piece of equipment, isn't it? When obviously it's got the Surface Pro 4 types chiclet keys. And all the improvements that come along with that, but I'm not sure people used to complain about the trackpads with the type keyboards, but I've never heard anyone complain about the way they feel.
No, in fact, the old Surface 2 had a softer. Was it Surface 2? Yeah, it did. Didn't
Yeah,
it? The original Surface had that softer covering on them.
Yeah, I always quite like the soft cover, but I can. Now, obviously, this is supposed to aim to those people who quite like their designer stuff.
Yeah,
because Alcantara. Yeah, well, Alcantara is it's a high-end fabric basically. It's used in luxury cars and interiors and things like that, and it's an Italian thing. So I loved the one phrase I saw. It says it ages beautifully, growing richer and darker over time.
Just like me.
Sounds like Gary.
Yeah, just like Gary.
Exactly. So we'll talk about the richer bit, but but yeah. So I can see where the market is for it, but as you rightly say, that market would be the sort of market which like a fingerprint reader as well. So I don't know. I know there's still shortages of those fingerprint readers, and that's why it took so long to get them over here. So maybe that's part of the problem.
I think. I'm quite happy with my keyboard, and I probably wouldn't have changed it anyway. But it would have been the one thing that I thought, might be worthwhile is when this keyboard gets a bit tatty or something. I think I might look at one of these if it had the fingerprint reader. But as it is, I probably wouldn't. But then, they are aiming with the premium market now, and maybe if my boss wanted a new keyboard, then that's what he would go for that one.
Yeah.
So maybe So not for me, but I do like it. It is. It does look quite nice. A nice premium. I mean, it's great that they're investing in. I mean, they're investing in the ecosystem, because that's one of the things that Microsoft had the potential to bring out new devices, accessories for devices like when the Zoom came out and so on, that they never really followed through on. And the Surface obviously is a brand that's doing well now, and they obviously feel comfortable investing in that platform now.
Yes, yeah, clearly. I mean, it certainly looks very nice, and like I say, I think if it includes the fingerprint scan, I think it might have been a bit of an impulse buy, but no.
Yeah. So anyway, so we've not got that, but we have got a new build of Windows 10.
Actually, before we move on to that, talking of hardware, did we talk about that? Was it the HP? Last week, I can't remember if we did.
We mentioned it briefly, didn't we? That there was a new HP out. Yeah. Yes, I think we did mention it, because I didn't do a post on it, but we briefly mentioned it. So, very nice looking device, very thin, isn't it?
Yes, yeah. What did you think, Gary?
Unfortunately, I actually had a chance to see one in person. That is incredibly thin. It does look very Apple-ish as well. It's got our Apple's Apple, I would say. I don't know what performance is like, because I've never actually got a chance to play with it in that respect. But just look at it, it is drool-worthy.
In fact, I do remember it, because we were saying, weren't we, last week, that really we have got the situation now where within the Windows world, we've got really nice hardware platform. And these devices they're all really nice now, and you can get some really nice laptops. I'm using this Dell, and there's that HP one, and even some new Acer ones. They're all really nice devices, and the quality of Windows hardware has come along, and I think
I think I'd say about that one particularly is it lives up to the hype we had for Ultrabooks.
Right, yeah.
It's actually finally there.
Yeah. And that's it. I mean, that's, and I think partly that's due to the Surface, isn't it? That's pushed forward the premium side of Windows.
Yeah, it certainly. I mean, with the device that thin, it will certainly be interesting to see what Microsoft are able to do with the Surface Pro 5. I mean, now they've got the external dock. They're not limited to try and fit a device to a dock in the way that the Surface Pro 3 did. So it'd be interesting to see how thin they can get that.
I think the only thing with that Surface, Spectre, was the fact it didn't have a touchscreen.
Yes, yeah, and I wonder if that was also part of it, maybe down to the thinness.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I know not everybody needs a touchscreen, but I always end up touching the screen. So
yeah,
yes, yeah, you just kind of get used to it. It almost becomes ubiquitous, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I must admit, I do like the touchscreen. I find it, especially in Edge, scrolling web pages in Edge. Although I do use the 2-finger scrolling a lot, but I do like having that ability. So to run that on, if you get one of those, you can stick the new fast ring inside a build onto your new device. It's 14316.
Yep.
And unlike the previous fast ring releases, which have had no new features, this is actually quite a lot in.
Yes, yes, it really was.
And most of it doesn't work in the UK.
Well, some of it does. I had various experiences with it. I'll go through them as we come up to it. So the first thing, the headline on this one was you can now run native Bash in Windows. You can just add that, enable that option, and you can type Bash, and you get the Bash command prompt. Yeah. So yeah, it works. I don't know. Have you tried this?
I have. Yep. Yeah, it's Bash.
Yeah, it works. You type ls and you get your directories. Yeah. You type nano and
nano's quite good to get, and you can do a lot. You can install packages to some extent as well. It works. It's Ubuntu on your PC basically. Yeah. So I think what's where people are going wrong in saying it's Linux on your PC, because it's not. It's a shell effectively. So yeah, but it's good. But it's great. I mean, if you're used to using those commands, if you've come across in that world, it's very difficult to unlearn them and try and find other things. So it's fine.
Yeah. So I tried it. It works. It's on my Surface, and I'll probably not use it.
Well, I must admit, I installed it, tried it, and uninstalled it, because I'm not a bash user. I know DOS inside out. Command prompt to inside out, whatever. So, and I'm sure Jason will stick to his PowerShell.
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Although it's good practice for when I start running SQL on Linux. So
yeah, that's right. I thought you'd
yeah.
Other new features are Microsoft describes Cortana cross-device functionality.
Yeah.
Which, depending on your region, you get various versions of this functionality. So this works with Windows Phone or Windows 10 Mobile with the asterisk by it, because I think there's a bug, isn't there, with some of the features in the current build of Windows 10 Mobile if you're on the fast ring. But anyway, it's supposed to work, and it works on Android if you've got Cortana 1.5, which is US only. Although I'm recommending that you do this, you can get the APK separately and try it on your Nexus phone if you so wish.
Yeah.
Which I did try, and it does work, but I don't think that's not a recommended solution by anyone. But anyway, so the kind of notifications you should get are low battery notifications. So you get low battery when you get the sort of the grey box comes up on your phone saying you've got critical battery. That will then pop up on Cortana, or just pop up in the Action Center on your PC. I tested this and I couldn't get this to work.
No, I think it only works on US region.
Yeah.
Both ends. So, and a lot of this stuff. I mean, I'm puzzled why things like Find My Phone only work in the US.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that must be a server-based issue.
Maybe, but I'm in a mixed region, because you remember when I went onto the fast ring with my 950 XL, I had to change it to US to add an extra for the band stuff.
Yeah.
So my phone's US. My Encore 8 is running US. Because for when we were doing the book, I left it in the US because I wanted that. So that notification didn't work. So anyway, it should work, but it didn't on mine. But there is a bug, I think, with Windows. Although I was trying this with my 930 as well. The other option is you can say, "Hey Cortana, find my phone," and then you can get it to ring your phone. And this worked on. It's really weird how this worked, actually. This didn't work on my Surface in UK English. On the Encore in US English, it did work. But then the results of when it came up saying I found your phone, came up on another device. So not the one that I initiated it from, and not my Surface, but my other test machine that was in the corner of the office popped up saying I found your phone. So I think there's some still notification stuff to be done. work on synchronization that. But it's good that it's there. I mean, I know you can do it through the browser, but it's good.
Yeah, I think that will be actually really useful when that works. Especially, I think the low battery thing would be very useful as well for me. And a lot of people were sort of saying, "Why would you want to do that?" But I actually could find I do dump my phone down occasionally and just forget about it, and then go to pick it up to make a call and realize, where's my fast charger?
Yeah. The other thing you could do is, it says Microsoft says share map directions across devices, which you can say, hey Cortana, directions to home on your PC, and it sends it to your phone, which I got that to work, and it doesn't matter about your region. It fires up the map app on your PC, then it sends that notification to your phone, which is then it appears in Action Center. But when I tapped on it in Action Center, it doesn't do anything. It doesn't open map app or anything. It just doesn't do anything. So now that could be, and they are aware of issues with Bill 14295 on mobile. So
I think there's things coming, isn't there, to fix a lot of this stuff.
What else was new? They said it makes it easy to set Cortana up. So if your region hasn't got all the language packs and things installed, it'll download them for you, which is good. There was a couple of updates for Edge. So these there's a few more extensions. The one that I do like is the OneNote extension. Have you tried that?
Yes, that's really good.
I like that one. So it just clip a thing straight into OneNote.
Yeah.
Doesn't always work.
As with most things in Edge, I have to say.
Yeah. I've just tried it on this Surface, and it says, the site says, we're sorry, we're not able to clip the page right now. And sometimes it asks you to sign in. So by the time you signed in, you could have just done it with the normal app. But anyway, it's good to see those extensions. I also found that the favorites has been changed. It's now the way that the favorites is organized, it looks differently. When you open your favorites, you get more of a tree view now than you used to do. You used to just get a list of folders.
Yeah. I actually quite like the new layout, especially if you've got a lot of favorites.
Yeah,
it seems to work quite well.
Yeah, so that was new. The new Skype app is there. Have you tried this?
I happen to be talking to you on the new Skype app.
Yeah, I've had a bit of a play with that on my my VM that I install these builds to.
Yeah.
So what do you think, Jason? What do you think of it?
I mean, I literally just had a very brief play around with it. I kind of think it's a bit laughable, really, that they've gone back to this single app. But yeah, but it's a good start. It's very basic. But I, for one, am quite happy for it to go back to a single app. Although I think I tweeted about this week that last week, that it's still odd that people seem to be happy with the iPad with its iMessage and FaceTime apps being separate, and I think that's probably what Microsoft were trying to emulate. But I think for a desktop, it's certainly nice to have them as separate apps.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest,
sorry, one app. Yes.
Yeah.
I've been happy to use it either way. The only issue really with the separate apps is they're really they've really not been developed very, very much, have they? So they're very basic. So you still really can't do a lot with them anyway. So
yeah, I wonder if they're actually going to develop this app anymore. It's just to assuage the people who want a single app. I don't know. I mean, it is incredibly basic. It does work. I mean, obviously it is working. I'm talking to you on it, so it must be working. But yeah, it's a bit weird.
Yeah, and I think it'll never be a full replacement for the Win32 app, because that's got a lot of granularity with the audio settings and things. I mean, I'm using it now for doing the recording, and I have to split the channels and things like that, and you can't do that with the new Universal app. But then, that's fine. The Universal has a nice simple version of it for end users, and I suppose anybody needs anything more advanced, they can get the Win32 one.
Yeah.
Whether they'll eventually phase out the Win32, I suppose theoretically they should, but whether they actually will, I doubt.
Of course they could always use Project Centennial to convert it to.
That's true, yeah. And this isn't that.
No, this isn't that.
No, this is the start of the game. But it's funny, isn't it, that they had, we mentioned this last week, I know, but they had a universal, in them days it was called a modern app, a modern Skype. I've got it on my Surface 2. It works. They scrapped it, and now it's back again. And so, 3 years later, when it says they're effectively a third attempt at doing a modern Skype app.
Yeah.
All right, so you can give that a try. It's in the build. I rather stupidly. I was just thinking, where do I find this in the store? And then of course I thought, oh, it's already there. You don't have to download it; it's already available.
Yeah.
And
it's called Skype UWP Preview.
Yeah, that catchy name.
Yeah, it's a catchy name. It's a very, very Microsoft name. But so the other thing, of course, we've got is another new app.
Oh yes, now this is actually quite. You mean talking about the Connect app?
I'm talking about the Connect app, spelled with a C, as Josh Pollard pointed out on his show.
Yeah.
Up on the K. Connect rather than Kinect.
Yeah. So this actually was pretty interesting. This was a bit out of the blue as well. I didn't really expect to see this. So what is the Connect app?
So Connect is basically a Miracast receiver app. So the idea is you can use Miracast on your phone or any other device to project to your laptop or whatever. Now, I actually think this was developed for internal use at Microsoft because they do so many demos where they're trying to show what's going on their mobile screens while they're showing them what's going on the development side of things. So I think that's probably why it came about. But it has some usage. I think I know that Josh and Richard on Entertainment 2.0, where in fact the whole episode was entitled "What's the use case?" and there is a question there: what is the use case for this? Because the whole point of Continuum is you're going to use it when you haven't got a computer, but obviously in this case you have got a computer. But I can certainly see some usage for demos. I can see some usage for playing things which are only available on your phone on your screen. Perhaps some things like videos or music which are on somebody else's phone, which is not on your PC. That I could see a point of doing that. Games which are only on someone else's phones, even documents and showing off PowerPoints and things like that, which aren't on your PC is a possibility. I could certainly see it being used at meetups and things. That would be quite useful for it. Now there are some restrictions on this. Obviously, you've got to have a Wi-Fi adapter in your PC or and it's got to be a certain type of Wi-Fi adapter because it's got to be up to the latest driver standards of Microsoft. I can't for the life of me think of what that is, but most USB wireless adapters aren't. So there's very few of them will actually work with this. Obviously, things like the Surface and that, which actually can project a Miracast, will work because they can equally receive. But you basically need to make sure you've got the correct version. But when it does work, it works pretty well. It's not very it's a lot less laggy than the Microsoft wireless display adapter is.
Yes.
So it works pretty well, I have to say. I was quite impressed with it actually in terms of usability. So yeah, it's a good addition.
Jason, did you give it a try? I don't suppose you have tried it in your virtual machines.
No, I haven't.
Oh, you're just waiting to get on your Surface updated.
Yes.
I gave it a try, and with my 950, it actually works quite well. It was at some points it refused to work altogether, and I was doing the hands-on video. I was just about to give up and say, well, I did try, and then it started working. Mm-hmm. And when it works really well, actually. So with the 950, that supports Continuum, so it's an additional display. So it's actually a PC-size display. It's not the narrow phone. It's a full-size window, and then you can use Continuum. So it works exactly as if I was casting to the Xbox or the Roku stick. Well, not the Xbox because I could never get that to work, but the Roku stick anyway. But like you said, the lag. There's less lag on the when I was sending it to the Surface, to my Surface, than there was to the Roku stick. So it actually works really well. And I can imagine in a meeting scenario where maybe you've got in your meeting room, you have a PC that already plugged into a big screen or a projector, then you could use it that way. I tried it with my 1520, which is running the latest fast ring build. So that's a Redstone build, and that worked as well. Obviously, it doesn't support the second screen. So it's just a mirror of what's on the phone, but it works quite well for that actually. It didn't work with my 630. It just wouldn't project, and it wouldn't work with any other. I couldn't get to it with Android either. I thought that it theoretically should work with the Nexus 5 because that supports Miracast, but I couldn't get that to work either. I also tried it going from my phones to the Encore 8 and to my Link 7, which theoretically should work, and that doesn't work either. So they wouldn't receive it. And I guess in theory you should be able to do it from a PC, but that doesn't work either. But I think in theory you should be able to go from a tablet to a PC with it. But it's early days. It's a new app, isn't it? And I think it works quite well, actually.
Yeah, I think things will improve. I mean, one of the problems with Miracast is the standard, which isn't the standard. There's loads of variants of it, so and I'm guessing this is using the latest variant, so that's possibly why a lot of the older stuff doesn't work.
Yeah. Oh, so far I thought it was a nice addition. So a couple of things I've added. Action Center has got priorities now for applications, so you can have normal, high, or priority. Have you tried that?
I haven't tried that actually. I'd read about it, but I hadn't really worked out what to do with it.
Yeah, so each app you can set a level, and I thought, well, how does it differentiate? But I think it's the order that the things show up. So if you've got something as a priority notification, it gets the top slot in Action Center when you swipe across. And then if it's then the slot below it. So if something has got normal level, if there's other higher or priority level notifications, they take the real estate in the screen on the column on the right hand side. So it's a way of getting. Cortana's on the priority, so that shows missed calls and that kind of thing at the top, and then I get my email, then I get Twitter, and so on. So you can then basically it's a way of making sure that high interest applications get their notifications on the top of Action Center, which it works quite well from my test on it. And one thing that a lot of people are going to like is there's now a dark theme.
Yay! Actually, I don't like dark themes, but a lot of people do like dark themes. So.
Jess, are you a dark theme guy?
Yeah, I do actually. I do much prefer it. I think sometimes when you're using it, particularly from sat next to my wife using my tablet on the sofa, it's quite nice to have that dark theme to stop the kind of glaring white. So yeah, I think it would be nice. So hopefully it might come to the the Action Center so we can quickly toggle it on and off. That would be quite nice.
Yeah, actually, it would be quite nice. So it works on most of the apps I've tried. Most of the UWP apps seem to work. Obviously, Win32 apps don't know about it. And some of Microsoft's apps don't know about it. But actually, I found I used to have my 1520 on the light mode all the time. And then when I got the XL, I prefer it in the dark mode. And I found on a small device, on the Encore 8 and the Link 7, I've got them in the dark mode, but the Surface I prefer in the light mode. So it depends on the device. But yes, I guess it depends on the time of day as well. And
yeah. I mean, I must admit, I think I've always used Windows Phone with the dark theme switched on, just primarily due to the kind of battery life of the screen, but also just I prefer using a phone without the kind of glaring white background.
Yeah. So it's there now. You can also you can enable it. It's just on or light or dark, so you can check that out. Something you might use, Jason, virtual desktop improvements. Something you'd be interested in?
It's a feature that I've always thought to be really useful, but never got into the habit of using. Kind of never built it into my workflow. So, so this way you can choose to have an app appear on all virtual desktops, isn't it? And I keep kind of meaning to use it in terms of having maybe a virtual desktop for store apps and a virtual desktop for kind of desktop working apps, but I just never remember to use it.
No, Gary, are you a virtual desktop guy?
Not really. No, it's one of those things that it sounds like it'd be useful, but I've never actually found a use for it.
Yeah.
But
you can now pin apps, can't you, to the virtual desktops?
You can do, yeah. I mean, and that's quite useful, I guess. If you are a virtual desktop user and you do group your apps into certain displays, that would be useful. I mean, I can see that because I do very similar things with multiple displays, so I guess I can do that. That makes some sense.
Yeah, it's a feature like you both here. I think, oh, that's a good idea, and I think I used to use it when I was messing about on Linux, and then when it came in Windows 10, I thought, oh, great, I'll use that, and don't. But you can pin apps, so that's new on there. Other changes are they changed the update progress screen.
Yes, yeah, I saw that on my virtual. I think I prefer that. It just seems to be less scary, if that makes sense.
I think that's exactly what it is supposed to be. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so as well. I could just quite like that. Although, as you rightly pointed out, Ian, it doesn't work very well on small form factor
No, the
devices.
text is all it's kind of overwrites. It's worst
Yeah.
on. I think Link 7 was the worst. The Encore 8
Yeah.
also had it as well, where
Yeah.
the text is overwriting each other.
Yeah.
But yeah, for anybody that's not seen this, you can see my I did a post on this, but where we used to have the big circle, sort of showing you progress, which is very good to see from a distance. I quite liked it because I could leave the tablets, especially propped up on charge, and I could see when they're done. Then they've swapped it now for this new blue screen that looks just like the installing update screen, and so it makes a lot more sense because, just as you said, Jason, it's not a big scary update screen. It's a kind of, we're doing updates, everything's normal, this is just a normal update, and it makes sense because these new builds, they get delivered like an upgrade, and really they're not. I know that they are for us, but not Microsoft don't want them to see as you having a new operating system. It's just an update, and that's the point of it.
Yeah, I think that's good.
Other changes include there's a new battery setting and battery saver experience, so you can have a look at battery app usage, and then you can change the management of individual apps. So you can say let Windows manage it, or never allow background operation. So you've got manual control over your battery settings, which I think is a nice idea. I've not actually checked on my Surface for a while to see which one actually, which apps are actually using all the power. I used to like checking that on my phone. There's some other nice little bits and pieces. You can now specify when the hours that you're active on your device, aren't you? So it won't try and install and update them.
Yes, there's some. It's quite nice features all round on that sort of thing. The update process seems to have improved. What I also noticed was that the update check-in seems to be a bit quicker. I'm not quite sure if that's deliberate, but although it still shows up my security update for SQL Server 2008, which I only installed about 6 years ago. but it does seem to check quicker.
And you can actually schedule an update as well, can't you? So you can say, do it at this specific, normally this is the window that I'm using it, but you can do it for that.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah. And they've changed they put commenting in the feedback app as well. I think there's issues.
Well, it'd be good if I could get to the feedback app.
Yeah.
Because as I was saying off air before we started, I've had a lot of bugs with this build. It's been really weird actually. Up until yesterday, I couldn't open half the apps on my system, including the feedback app. What would happen is I'd click on it and nothing would happen. But if I went to the task manager, the app would be there. So things like Now TV, for example, it'd show up Now TV in Task Manager. If I then used the switch to, I'd get the Now TV app up. But clicking on it would do nothing. It didn't even give any visual indication that
is a known bug. In fact, I think they updated the post about that, didn't they? Let me find it. Yeah. So the comment from Microsoft is, we're investigating an issue where UWP do not appear on the taskbar when minimized.
Oh, well, this isn't minimized. This isn't even opening.
Yeah.
I do about the minimized one because I also do get that. But this is a case where it doesn't even appear to open.
But it's running.
But it's running, yeah. So it hasn't run before. It's clean boot. You click on it, nothing happens. And then it appears in Task Manager. So that works for some apps. It appears in the Task Manager. You can get to it, which is very much like that minimize bug. For other apps, it would start to open then crash. Things like Windows Central app, a few Maps app, a few other things, and then other apps it just wouldn't open at all, and nothing happened, like the feedback app. So it was but then suddenly yesterday afternoon it all started working, and there didn't appear to be any updates or anything.
Yeah, maybe something was stuck or something. Yeah.
Yes, well, I hadn't rebooted or anything like that, so I tried several reboots to try and get it working, but nothing specific yesterday afternoon. So it was a bit weird that to happen, but I still cannot get into the feedback app. So I'd like to give us feedback about this, but I can't get into it.
The feedback app is working on mine devices.
Yeah, it works on most of my devices, but not on this one. So I have to give some feedback on other devices, but it would have been nice to get some logs and stuff and send them across. But,
a few things I found that aren't documented on here, but I think are known issues now, is the on-screen keyboard. It's probably quite hard to explain this. I was trying to do explain this in a tweet, and I don't think I really managed to do very well. But the on-screen keyboard it's on the when it's you're using it to type, doesn't doesn't have the UI updating. So the keyboard itself is working, but if you press the shift key, it doesn't
Oh yeah, I saw
do
that.
anything
Yeah,
to reflect it.
Yeah, you don't get the update to show you've actually done anything. Yeah,
But the shift does work.
Yeah.
Which is really difficult when you're using complex passwords
yes.
and you can't remember whether you've pressed the.
But it does. It's weird because it does. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't work,
Yeah.
doesn't it? I've noticed that.
Yeah. Another one I noticed occasionally is on the start button. You click on the start button and nothing happens. And
that seems to have been around for a while though.
Yeah.
I think I've had that on every build at some point. It's stopped working.
Yeah. I also found that Edge every now and again just likes to close itself.
Yes. Well. Yes. The reliability of Edge is driving me a bit crazy.
Yeah. So that. A couple of issues. I think that's all the main issues I've had with it. But the on-screen keyboard is a bit of a pain on the small tablets. It's not so bad on the Surface with the keyboard on it. And also sometimes I think it's like it's trying to do something in the background, and it just won't do anything. It's like the whole operating system is frozen, but only the start related stuff. So Action Center, Task Manager, that kind of thing. But if you've got a window open that you're watching Netflix or you're in the browser or whatever, they're all fine. So only minor-ish things, but there is more bugs I think in this build than we've had any.
And that's always the case when you add new features. I guess so they've added some fairly major stuff under the skin, I suspect, on this one, and it's just been caused a few issues. But I'm hoping they'll fix them fairly quickly. That's if people can actually give feedback about what the problems are. So I mean, it's disappointing, some of the problems. I mean, I'm still very disappointed with Edge. I think that they've had for something which is out to cure the bad reputation of Internet Explorer, to have as many problems as it still does a year and a bit in since its launch is frankly worrying.
Have you? I'm fed up of clicking on links, particularly to kind of Microsoft knowledge base articles and whatnot, and then because it tries to log you into your kind of Windows Live Microsoft account, it just sticks, and then it comes up with an error. And that for me is just something fundamental that should just work.
Yes, yeah,
and it's just shocking that it doesn't.
Yeah, it's just there's so. I mean, like Ian says, it just crashes at times. A lot of times you can't even click on a link. The link just won't go anywhere. So there's a lot of issues with it still, which are somewhat worrying. And there's loads of sites which just won't open. I mean, I still cannot log into my provider for my web hosting using Edge. It just crashes as soon as you try to log in. Whereas it works on Internet Explorer. And they claim that they are using all the web standards, so maybe they're not. I mean, it might be the site developer's fault, but it does seem a bit weird that the things work on every other single browser. Now, I will give Edge some due. I mean, it is blindingly fast at times. Certain things load up way quicker than other sites would load up. I noticed that when I'm preparing the Fascinating Tech website, that the preview stuff I do on that comes up way quicker than it used to do. So there are some positives, but at the moment the negatives outweigh the positives.
I'm using it full time. I'm not using any other browser now.
Yeah, I'm using it full time, except for when I have to go to other site, to Internet Explorer.
I mean, yeah, occasionally there are a few things.
Yeah.
The Libsyn thing that we use for the podcast hosting isn't very good on Edge.
Yeah.
So there's the odd thing. I'll tell you an interesting thing. Problem I found with my Surface when I was getting the insider build on it, switching to the fast ring, it wouldn't pick up. In fact, I got it on the fast ring last week, and it was working fine. Then it wouldn't pick up this update this week. Last week the new build. But every time I went to check for updates, it said update for Visual C++ 2012, update for redistributable, and installing it. And I remember thinking, okay, fair enough. And then I checked it later. I'm sure I've seen that message before about it's installing Visual C. Anyway, I never thought of it. Check for updates, still not pulling down the inside your build. And then it came up with that installing Visual C again. I thought there's no way that's a different one. It's got to be the same one. So I checked the update history, and there Visual C is there. Well, it was there 20 or 30 times. The same update, all successfully installed. So basically, what was happening every time I checked for updates to get the new build, it was reinstalling that patch, and it seems to be a known issue because I did find a thing on Microsoft Answers forum about it. Basically, what you've got to do is go to the updates and features, the old style Windows install or add remove programs kind of thing, remove or repair the Visual C 2012 update for redistributable package, and then if you did repair or remove, then a reboot, it then clears out this what effectively was the backlogged updates, and then it pulled down the insider update. So I was but even since doing that, I'm on this new build, and it's still every day installing that same package, and you have to remove it for it to then be able to install the next package available.
Ooh,
so
right.
it's a bit of a nightmare that, but it's only done it once today, and I completely uninstalled it this morning, and since then it's just reinstalled it with the once. So maybe I've fixed it now.
We'll see.
But that's a good tip that if your builds aren't showing up, then check that update history.
Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, I've still got quite a few updates on various machines which are sort of locked in, that they've been there for ages and they never complete. They always fail. And there's no way to get rid of them, which is a pain.
Yeah, and it seemed to be this C++ problem has actually been a problem for a while, because when I got rid of that, it installed a firmware marked as January. So I'm not sure what had been happening.
Oh. Well, at least you found a solution, which is
good. Also, I posted this on TDL because it was driving me mad. I've seen this before, but where you've got an app update, and let's say it's a 15 meg, and in my case it was the mail and calendar app. It's a 15 meg file. It tries to do it, gets to about 0.5 in my case, 0.5 of a meg download, and then it failed with a 0x800 message.
Lovely message, that.
Yeah.
X800.
And no matter what I did, try changing my Wi-Fi connection, using my phone's Wi-Fi, using the different Wi-Fis, it would not bring down the updated app. And so it would that was it. It just would not update the mail. I tried rebooting and all sorts of things. And this is not to do with the Insider. This was before I had it on the Insiders. But it turns out I found where the problem lies. In this case, that it was that it started to download the update, and then the network dropped. So it had a cache of that file. It had a 0.5 of a meg file that it downloaded. And then when the Wi-Fi was later reestablished and after rebooting and whatever, when I went to install the update, rather than going and getting a fresh copy of it, it was using the cached copy that it downloaded, which was invalid, and bombing out again. So the way to get rid of it, even if you uninstall it using PowerShell to uninstall the app, which is one of the things I tried, that doesn't fix it, because it allows you to uninstall it. That when you go back to install it again, it just picks up the cached copy again. And so so you're in a worse state. Then you've not even got the app anymore. So in my case, I got rid of the mail app and the calendar, and now I only had this sort of bad copy of it. So it turns out that there is a folder in the software distribution folder of a Windows folder called Delivery Optimization, and this is where it caches that file. And all you have to do is reboot so that the files aren't locked. Delete the software distribution folder or the delivery option folder, and then when you go to the store, download the app. Of course, the cache isn't there. It gets a fresh copy of it, and it's fine, and it installs the app, and everything works fine. And fortunately, it pulled all my accounts back and everything, so I didn't lose anything at all. I didn't have to set anything up again. But it just shows it's in sort of a bad state that you can get in, and it's a bit worrying. I don't know how many the people this happens to, normal users that don't try and fix it and just get stuck with these apps that are sort of in this indeterminate state of not being able to update. Maybe there's some optimization that it will clear it out eventually itself. I don't know.
One would hope so, but I don't think it does. Because I was looking in that folder the other day, and there was stuff dated back to August last year in there. So it seems like if it does get rid of it, it takes a very long time about it.
Yeah, and I don't know why you really need to cache it really either, because
Yeah.
once you've installed it, you don't really need the installer files unless
Yeah.
you're passing it off to another device. But you
Yeah.
don't do that, do you?
No.
So
Perhaps,
anyway,
perhaps there'll be an update to the store at some point that would solve that.
One would hope so.
yeah,
Yes.
I'm sure it's well. It has seen other people, because I found a few different posts on it, but there's lots of different solutions, and I think so. I thought I'd write it because it basically boiled down to a very simple one step thing to do it, and it worked for me. But I was thinking, oh no, I've just got my Surface is all up and running nicely, and I don't want to have to. Because I remember having on one of the insider builds that I had to wipe my Encore to get the Mail app to work. I think that you had something similar, didn't you, Jace? Trying to get stuff to reinstall for PowerShell.
Yes, yeah, no, it's still a problem. I've noticed a couple of my kids' accounts have got issues installing apps, so I'm actually going to give you a solution to try.
Yeah,
I suspect that's probably what it is.
yeah. But you just think that it would be a way that the store would handle that better than it could get in that bad state.
Yeah, I mean, we we keep saying, don't we? This needs to be simple because it is on an iPad, it is on an Android device. Not saying they don't have their own problems, but it's it really does need to be quite simple. I mean, in fact, I was having my mum on the phone the other day. They've got a PC that's been upgraded to Windows 10, and she was trying to find a scanner app, and I was talking her through how to find it. And I was thinking, I'll teach her, get her to pin it to her start menu and to her taskbar, so it's always there. Anyway, so I was giving her instructions, and she said, "No, I can't see that. No, I can't see that." And it's always difficult, as you to be well aware when you're trying to help someone over the phone. And in the end, I realised that the problem was she was clicking start, and it wasn't opening. So literally had to get her to restart the PC, and then it opened, and she was like, "Oh, now I can see what you've been describing." And I think those sort of issues are unfortunate that they're still being experienced.
Yeah. It is a shame. It is a shame. I think so. We've going back to the old Surface RT days. We had these conversations about legacy requirements in the operating system not necessarily always being a good thing. But I mean, I think apps particularly, there needs to be, for one thing, there is an app troubleshooter you can download, but it doesn't sort all the problems out. But there ought to be an app troubleshooter built into Windows 10. Just these sort of things to solve these things. It'd be relatively easy for them to do it as well.
There is a Windows Store reset option. I think it's called WS Reset. And that didn't fix it either. I did try that, but I mean, the store should say it should know you've got this error message. It shouldn't just give you the error message and say, okay, we've got an error. Let's try reset. Let's try clearing out the cache files. But like you said, it should walk you through it or troubleshoot it for you.
Yeah. I think that's something which may come. Actually, I think there's some interesting discussions going on at Microsoft at the moment. I heard of rumours about how debugging. I mean, have you seen today that they've now talked about the blue screen of death actually having a QR code on it?
Yes.
So you can scan that QR code to get more information about your problem, which is quite good because it's not actually easy to note down what's on the QR.
No, I usually take a picture of it with my phone and then you put it into Google, don't you?
So, but the QR code go directly there. That's not a bad clever. The only thing is we now need a QR scanner we can get to in a few clicks on Windows Phone, which we used to have and don't have anymore. But yeah, so I think that there's some improvements going to come, and I think that they are thinking about this sort of stuff. How they improve the whole error message stuff, and not just having numbers and actually having some references and having a bit more granularity on the errors as well, not just having catch-all ones, because a lot of them are just there's about 4 or 5 error numbers, which just mean it's run out of memory when it's been trying to do the thing, so that's not particularly helpful. But yeah, so I think things improve. Anyway, talking about things which have improved, as Jason's been saying, we've got an update today for the release stream, I guess you'd call it, of the
as I don't, this is for old devices.
Actually, new devices as well. I've got it on my 950 because I'm still on the release size.
So what is this then?
So basically, it's a new build. It's a couple of cumulative updates they've actually called them, although there's possibly a little bit more on that. So this is build 10586.218 for PCs and also for mobile. and it fixes quite a plethora of stuff. So it says reliability, performance, and stability update improvements. And I'll come on to that in a second because I think it has. It supports for visual voicemail on dual SIM phones. This is the mobile build. You'll like this one. Improvements for Bluetooth connectivity include the reliability of connecting to and staying connected with Bluetooth devices. I really want that.
That's what Jason, you wanted.
Yes, yeah, I've had all sorts of Bluetooth issues in my 930, just completely crushing the phone.
Yeah. It does. I've been playing with this for the last couple of hours, and it's way better on Bluetooth connectivity than it was previously. Fix for a problem that caused audio playback to get occasionally interrupted in Groove Music and other music apps when the phone display was turned off. I know I've heard a lot of people complain about that one. Improvements to the Microsoft Edge browser. Including support for hearing a prompt before the file download occurs. Supports for background downloads. Hurrah! So you can actually go off at Edge and it won't stop your download anymore.
Right.
And a fix for a problem where opening a link from another app wouldn't load the web page. Hurrah!
Hooray!
So lots of really good fixes for Edge in there. Repayment for reliability improvements for Cortana read text messages allowed and usability improvements for quiet hours feature. The reading text aloud message allowed bit actually works now for me. I can actually respond to it and it doesn't just sit there and not listen to me. I think that was also partly a Bluetooth fix. It wasn't turning the hands-free device on to actually respond. Also, then we got improvements for store reliability, including a fix for a problem that prevented some apps from being updated and installed. I wonder if that's your problem.
Well, I'm on the Redstone, but yeah.
Yeah. But fix for a problem that could occasionally cause some apps to show blank tiles after upgrading from Windows Phone 8.1. I had quite a few of those when I upgraded the first time. Improvements for PC connectivity via USB on some phones that were upgraded from Windows Phone 8.1. So a lot of stuff in there. I will have to say that reliability, I have noticed tons of things it fixes. One of the most frustrating things I've had for the last few months is if you're using the mail app and you've got a big message which hasn't quite downloaded and you want to reply to it. Now on Windows 10 mail app you can say respond anyway. Don't wait for it to download.
Yeah.
On the phone, that 90% of the time that would not bring me up a respond window. It'd just give me a blank screen. Up until this build. With this build, that's now working 100% every time I try and do it.
Right.
So that's a definite improvement. Everything seems way quicker to load. It used to take me, so I get some really big mail messages, lots of text stuff in them, and some of those would take 20-30 seconds to load up before, and now they're coming up almost instantly. So I'm so far I've been really impressed with the usage I have of the phone. Yeah. Anyway, it's definitely made big differences, and I definitely noticed improvements on Edge as well. Particularly the business of where you click a link and it actually loads the right thing.
Yeah, that's good.
And also, it doesn't seem to be opening quite so many tabs. I've mentioned this before. It seems to open millions and millions of tabs. If you've got a tab open on the website that you are linking to, it doesn't seem to reopen another tab.
Right,
cool.
Yeah. I think, and a lot of these fixes are already in the Redstone development, aren't they? Because a lot of these I've seen have been resolved already.
Yeah, I guess there's a lot in there which is fixed. It's just it's nice to see them coming up on the main screen.
Yeah. I shall get that installed on this Skype machine. That's the only one I've got left, actually. I'm on my laptop at work, yeah.
Yeah, so that was the mobile stuff, and then the Windows 10 build is very, very similar. It's got improvements for reliability in Internet Explorer 11, funnily enough, .NET Framework, Wireless LAN, Microsoft Edge, Windows Update, log on Bluetooth, network connectivity, apps, video playback, Cortana, USB, Windows Explorer, and Narrator. So there's not much left of the operating system it doesn't touch. One of the things I do like is fix the issue with the connectivity of USB devices. So where they go missing until you boot the OS. I don't know if you've come across that.
Yeah.
But sometimes you plug a USB device in and out, it suddenly sometimes doesn't get recognised, and then you have to reboot it to get it working up. The other one I really do like, because I have this problem all the time, is the improvement in discoverability of printers when it resumes from sleep.
Right.
I was finding I was having to reboot after resuming from sleep to actually get anything to to recognise the printer, and some other sort of more trivial stuff. Fixes an issue with the lock screen, doesn't actually say what that issue is. Fixes an issue with daylight savings times. Fixes additional issues with shutdown delays, narrator, Cortana, roaming data usage, buying apps in the store, video playback, facial recognition, Bluetooth pairing, Edge login, Internet Explorer, Live Tiles, Net Framework, and Microsoft Installer. So yeah, so a lot of
Lots
good
of changes,
fixes.
yeah.
Yeah, a lot of good fixes. And you say a lot of these are already in the version we're playing with on the thing, but it's good that they actually got into the retail build.
And I think I'm pretty confident we'll get a Redstone 2 build this week as well, maybe tomorrow or Thursday.
Yeah, I'm hearing rumours that's coming fairly quickly. There's a mobile build to come out as well, because we haven't had the mobile of that. So I think that they're getting ready for that. And hopefully that'll fix some of the issues I've had. So yeah, it's good. I mean, it's good to see things actually moving on. We're actually getting some new functionality, because it did feel well. We were sitting there with just fixes and no actual new functionality. So it's good to see some.
Yeah, absolutely. I did want to mention, but we could probably talk more detail about next week. Did you see the thing about the Windows unlock with your companion device framework?
That's going to be good. That's going to be quite fun. So, I mean, I don't know quite how secure that would be, and whether some corporates will like that, but but the idea you can unlock it with your band, just because that's your personal device, makes some sense.
Yeah, I quite like the idea of just going up to it with a band and unlocking the device. And I think Android's had something similar for a while, hasn't it?
Yeah. Basically on Android you can use any Bluetooth Smart device to unlock if you've got the right apps to do it. So yeah, but it's a good thing. I mean, I think it works. When it works really well. I mean, I've actually got a third-party program which does it on one of my Windows devices anyway. But yeah.
This is not built into the OS. This is a developer framework, isn't it?
Yes, yeah. So the idea is you'll be able to do it in any app, including web browsers, etc.
Yeah. So Microsoft could use the band. They've just got to follow their SDK and whatever. Yeah. Excellent. Well, I think that's just about all we've got time for today. So there wasn't a lot of news, but there was nice big Windows 10 build to play with. So you can look at my hands-on video with that on our YouTube channel. And what have we got on Fascinating Tech, Gary?
Well, the Fascinating Tech sneak peek of the next issue is up, the spring issue. We've got a special offer, a cover deal this issue, which I'm opening up to all digital lifestyle readers as well. Basically, we use a program called Website IX5 to actually develop the website. And the publishers of that have kindly given us a free edition of the home edition of that for every reader and listener to this podcast. So there's I'll send you the link in so you can publish it as well. But basically it's just click and download. It's about 20 quid worth of website development software, and it's really good if you're a novice website developer. If you don't really know your HTML or anything like that, it allows you to put together a website pretty quickly. And we've put together a little tutorial on how to use it as well. But it's quite cool that. So there's a few pages up from the next issue just to give you an idea what's coming. But we will be publishing the whole of that by hopefully the end of the week. I'm just waiting for a couple of reviews to be finished. And there's some good stuff in there.
Excellent stuff. And Jess, where can we find you ranting about Disney Anywhere?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Database Chase.
Yeah, you complain that your Star Wars movie's not...
Yes, Disney Anywhere is not Disney Anywhere.
Yeah, it's almost anywhere.
Yeah.
Excellent stuff. Well, I think that's just about all we've got time for this week. So just time now, Jason, for you to go and put the inside of Fast Ring on your Surface.
No, it's not going to happen.
we know it's going to happen.
Yeah. Maybe when they get a bit more stable.
Yeah, I would skip this build. Maybe wait for the next one. So we should be back next week at 9 p.m. UK time. We're also on YouTube, on Twitter, IS Dixon, and all over the place. So you can find us on thedigitalifestyle.com. So until next week, thanks for listening.
Take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Excellent stuff. Right, I shall